Are you a wine drinker? When you drink wine, have you ever noticed symptoms such as hives or cognitive dysfunction like mood changes or brain fog? Or how about itchiness or a histamine type reaction? If so, I want to discuss a case today that may relate to what you're experiencing. I'm Dr. John Bartemus, and I'm putting the pieces together to help you live a life at optimal. Wines contain sulfites, and sulfites for most of the population are not a big deal. Less than 1% of the population is especially sensitive to sulfites. But today, I was working with a patient that we discovered has a genetic susceptibility to sulfite sensitivity. And we found that out after she's already experienced that when she drinks wine, she breaks out in body-wide hives for 2 days. And this is from 2 sips of wine, not 2 glasses, 2 sips. Her question was, well, I've drank wine for a long time and this has never happened before. Why now? Well, that's the interesting question, and that's what we want to dive into. Now, we all have genes or alleles or single nucleotide polymorphisms potentially that for the gene called the SUOX gene or the sulfite oxidase gene. Sulfite oxidase is the gene that helps us metabolize sulfites to sulfates. If you don't metabolize the sulfite to sulfate well, the sulfites can build up and create hives, itchiness, throat swelling, different histamine type reactions that are also sulfite reactions. Now, this person has the homogeneous polymorphism of the SUOX gene, meaning she received 2 bad copies, 1 bad one from mom, 1 bad one from dad. Now, that doesn't damn her to poor function as she's experienced because she's drank wine for many years and not broken down this way. But what those 2 bad copies are a susceptibility to poor function. Basically, it means she's set up or predisposed to poor sulfite metabolism if a perfect storm occurs. And for her, recently a perfect storm has occurred. Now, you may ask, what is a perfect storm? Well, single nucleotide polymorphisms are epigenetically controlled, meaning she has the polymorphisms in the sulfox gene, or in the SUOX gene, the sulfite oxidase gene. So that is a susceptibility to poor function. Well, epigenetic control is control of that gene from above, meaning environmental exposures, lifestyle exposures, choices. So previously in her life, she's always had this gene her whole life, right? But previously, the hive reactions to wine or the sulfites in wine haven't been an issue, and more recently they have been, so what's changed? Well, levels of stress, nutrition, sleep, diet, infectious status, inflammatory status, etc. This person has Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune thyroid disorder. This person has multiple other issues that all add up, and now where the gene used to function properly, there's enough things going wrong in other areas of her life that susceptibility is manifested. Another key piece to this is each of these genes that make up our function require nutrient cofactors to work properly. Well, the sulfite oxidase gene requires the trace mineral molybdenum. So if you are insufficient or deficient in molybdenum, then this gene can't operate properly or function properly. And so previously when you had good molybdenum levels and you were exposed to sulfites, the gene worked well enough to metabolize those to sulfates and you didn't have the hive breakouts. Well, now with a molybdenum deficiency, or at least an insufficiency, that gene can no longer work as necessary to clear sulfites and convert them to sulfates fast enough. So you have 2-day breakouts and hives from 2 sips of wine. So nutrient status matters, and other epigenetic or lifestyle or environmental factors matter, such as overall nutrition, physical activity, stress, sleep, other inflammatory processes such as autoimmunity or infection. So those things are constantly changing. So if you have that perfect storm, you exhibit hives from 2 sips of wine. So what can you do? Well, obviously we want to improve the molybdenum status of this person so that the cofactors available when the gene wants to work or has substrate to work on. Secondly, we want to deal with the peripheral things or the epigenetic factors that are creating the manifestation of the susceptibility into reality of this gene. So dealing with the things I've listed previously, poor sleep, poor lifestyle, environmental factors, infection, autoimmunity, etc. Doing that helps us optimize physiology indirectly and optimize function of the gene directly through the molybdenum sufficiency. And then now this person can metabolize or be exposed to sulfites without necessarily having the hive breakouts. Does that mean she has a green light to go consume wine all day, every day? Absolutely not. And I would recommend she doesn't consume wine at all. But if she does, if everything else is okay, she's shown that in her life she's been able to deal with it when her health and all the factors involved are optimized.